Hi everybody, JSB here, and playing a game of Kayle top. So finally got a chance to get back into gaming and really loving Wild Rift right now. Full disclaimer, this is a low elo game. I'm building my way up to past gold and so on and so forth, but I wanted to document and record it. If you guys have any tips or suggestions, if you're higher elo, feel free to drop them in the comments. I would love to learn more and get better at the game. So my thought process with this is I want to do the on-hit Kayle build. So Blade of the Ruined King first, Guinzu's Rage Blade, and I really like to do Hurricane third, just so I can get more damage out in team fights. Probably not the most cost-efficient build, probably PD or something would be better, but that's what I'm looking to do. So in this Darius matchup, I'm looking to basically last hit with Q or E and not really engage with him very much because he destroys me early game for the most part, especially if he's able to get a pull in. And definitely have to work on my CSing still and making sure I get as much CS as possible. But the name of the game is get to level 6. Then I can make some outplays, and you'll notice that just playing around with the summoner spells, doing exhaust barrier in case we have an experienced jungler that might look for a dive or something like that. So I want to make sure that I'm just really hard to dive. It's really important later in the game though that your spacing is really good in team fights. I think in this game I make a lot of mistakes, so I'll be sure to point them out. And right now just CSing, grabbing some of this gold around the tower and going from there. So for me, more or less, basically getting back into Wild Rift. I'm a nutrition coach, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I just felt like something was missing, and now back to gaming, freaking loving it. And I thought, you know, give myself a reason. So if I record some of these games that I play, I can have other people comment, help me out to make help me get better. And then if I'm slightly better than some people, I can give them some tips to help out their gameplay. So just last hitting and CSing here. More or less, I want to keep the wave closer to my tower as much as possible, preferably not crashing entirely to my tower. I make a mistake there, let him get the pull, but because it's so close to my tower, he can't really follow up all that much. Now that I have level 6, this is going to be great for me because now I'll be able to last hit from range, which allows me to kind of abuse this a little bit against Darius as well. I can start trading a little bit more with him. And just being mindful of his apprehend, his E, because that's the main thing that'll be a problem if he's able to aim me. So more or less like doing forward and back movements to make it hard for him to kind of gauge how he can get the apprehend. I just want to space better, and it's just your movement patterns. So I'm looking to last hit and try to push this wave to tower so then I can get a base and get a buy here because I'm not running TP. So that's kind of the thought process here. And more or less, I'm looking for the attack speed boots and then Blade of the Ruined King first item. And we're playing against Darius, Warwick, Ari, Tristana. I forget who the support was here. I think it's Nautilus. And this game is an interesting one. I make a lot of mistakes, so it's going to be good to talk through some of this stuff. Yep, just you notice like now compared to pre-6, I was not trading nearly as much, but now I can really put some damage out on Darius and trade with him a lot more. It's more or less I want to make sure that I have my Q available, so if Darius starts to walk up and it looks like he's going to try to do an apprehend, I can slow him and then basically kite him back a little bit. This Darius actually went Flash Ignite. I think Ghost is far better. Then you can actually run down your target, get a lot of your passive procs off and really make them bleed and get the most amount of damage. I see him going on the brush. I don't want to risk him pulling me in, so I just back off. Because the power of Kayle is in the late game scaling, you know what I mean? I feel like when we get to about 3 items, that's when things really start working. He messes up his flash apprehend, and then I'm able to run him down and just auto attack him. Finish with the Q, and that's a really good spot for us. Helps us buy. And if I remember correctly, I try to get a few oh no, iBase. Okay. Probably should have been better to get some of the additional gold from the plates on the tower, but I opted to base here. As far as I'm aware, I think Tristana gets really fed this game. and you'll notice some outplays on me. But you'll still see the power of the Kayle, especially when you look at the gold and the kill difference. But I think the power of Kayle really is if you can make it through the early game, make some good decisions in the mid game. The game could be essentially over in the mid game, but then you have kind of like this late game insurance if you don't misplay to be able to end the game and really carry. And so level 9, you start to get kind of the splash damage from your auto attacks once you have things procced, which allows with your to improve your wave clear. Once again, just trying to CS, get my items, and then basically look towards getting the finish here. Yeah, just chunking them out under tower, and then going from there. It's really hard for Darius. I think this Darius is not necessarily like fully understanding of the matchup, and then also just Darius in general, because this is the new season S20, I believe, so everybody's starting off in whatever rank they're in and then working their way up. So I've had some games today that have been crazy, like basically just running it down the lane. I have people go in, like 3 people in a dual lane, and it's been kind of crazy. So just gonna help the Vi out here, secure the objective, and then just apply pressure. A lot of the time I'm not really wanting to group with the team too quickly until I have about 2 items. That's my ideal choice, just so I can really do some damage. Also keeping in fact that, like, you know, a flash barrier probably would have been better in this scenario, because there wasn't a lot of tower diving in the early game, people trying to chunk me down and dive me. So, you know, playing around with the summoner spells is going to be very important. There are times when you do flash TP, flash barrier. I just like to do the exhaust barrier because I'm able to just survive, and then a lot of the time I'm like trying to chase down carries. The exhaust can help me slow them down, lower their DPS, and then also chunk them out. But it's your positioning that's the most important. So just looking to help out the team here. I think this Mel gets really fed at the late game. Like, she starts just chunking. So unfortunately I wasn't able to get the kill on the Tristana. We weren't able to kill her. That would have been a good shutdown. So now just working with the Jinx to push this tower down. She's looking to dive. She gets the kill. Awesome on the Ahri. And then I have to run the Quicksilver Sash. I believe that's what the QSS. Mainly because if the Warwick ult gets on me, it's going to be a bit of a problem. He'll be able to shut me down, and I could probably get bursted down before I can even get any DPS off. So looking to help out the team, drop as much DPS as I can. I believe I die here, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, nope. Doesn't look like it. Okay. So trying to ulti some of that damage beforehand and then work with the auto attack. Secure the dragon. And we're looking good at this stage in terms of we're making a bit of a comeback. I think total gold is actually lower for us. I wanted to zone the Tristana so she couldn't do some sort of miracle steal because we don't have smite for this objective. And then just looking to push down the objectives here. This Hecarim was funny, basically just like split pushing the whole game. I don't really know if he even grouped up very much, just kind of went to side lanes and kept pushing, which in some scenarios was kind of funny. We're like all team fighting, almost dying, and he could clean it up, but he was just side lane pushing. But control what you can do in your game the best that you can. Some games are just not going to be winnable. Remember, this it's kind of like a 40-40-20 type of setup, you know. I die here, unfortunately. And this Ahri was really good to hold on to her charm. I thought she was going to charm me immediately. That's why I did the QSS. But she held on. That was really good on her. And now we're just working on the Guinzu's Rage Blade. And once I get these 2 items, Blade of the Ruined King, Guinzu's Rage Blade, I do a lot of damage. The Hurricane just kind of amplifies the damage because it's going to be able to hit multiple targets. So when I'm in a team fight, I can just start dropping DPS like crazy. I know Runon's Hurricane is not necessarily the best buy. I would say like probably Phantom Dancer is going to be better in this case, just because of maybe the 1v1s that might be happening. And just trying to get the Mel here, but she was really good with just side lane pushing. Using the exhaust here, like I explained, like using it for the slow. So I use my ulti to just remove any kind of damage that the Ahri would get, and then we chunk her out here for the finish and still continue pushing top lane.
Enemy rampage. On wings Ally slain.
A bit of a, you know, I shouldn't be letting him get me with these apprehends. I can space better. So that's something that I've noticed, that like just letting him walk up to me and apprehend me, especially if he doesn't have ghost or anything, is not necessarily a good thing. Half the back, they're pushing down mid lane. One thing was for sure, I was not doing a good job here, doing my job to make sure that the waves were managed. Anytime we got a favorable team fight, I found that like the side lane and the mid lane, or two of the lanes, would be pushing in hard on us and was not able to make anything convert. So that's definitely something I got to work on. Yeah, bad fight by me. I didn't really need to go too deep for that, and then I noticed at that point I was too far deep. I think, to be completely honest, I was taking out the frustration on the Vi a little bit here. Vi's trying to solo Baron here. Probably somebody new to the game, but basically I was just, you know, probably not happy with my positioning on that. Not, you know, I could have played that a lot better. So just taking it out on the Vi, spam pinging, telling her to get off of Baron. Probably better to utilize the ulti in a team fight and help out the team, but you know, solo queue is like that. You'll have some people that are not going to be helpful. You just do the best that you can in terms of trying to help out and try to get the victory. And that's one of the reasons why I like to play Kayle. I mean, people that know how to play against Kayle and shut her down early, it's going to be a problem. So that's why you play kind of passive, and you just try to make it to the point where you can actually do damage. And, you know, like I said, sometimes, half the time, you're not going to be able to win the game. Not everybody has a super high win rate. Okay, getting the kill on the Tristana there. The Jinx gets it, but that's the main target we want to shut down because she drops a ridiculous amount of DPS along with the Mel. Ahri still does damage, but you can still at least be able to navigate around her Q as long as she's not able to land the charm, her E. So more or less it's the Tristana auto attacks and then the Mel abilities, which, to be completely honest, I know she has the one ability that reflects, and I know her, I think it's her Q that drops that DPS on the ground, which really hurts. She does a ton of damage. Just trying to chase down the Warwick here. I probably should have turned back after the Q didn't hit, but pushing out the wave here and gonna carry on with the game. So game's hard if you're looking at the kills, 19 to 33. Not the greatest situation, but we're gonna do the best that we can. Like I said in the beginning of the video, guys, if you're a higher elo, you got some suggestions, feel free to comment below. I mean, definitely a noob. It's not my area of expertise. I'm just trying to learn the game, so learning from different YouTubers, different people that play Wild Rift. Level 13, pretty big spike in terms of the ultimate, and I can pick up the Hurricane soon. I think I sit on gold for a while. Probably should have just based and got it. But yeah, if you got any suggestions, drop them in the comments, and hopefully as I go along in this journey, I can provide some tips and suggestions for you guys to get better at specific champions. As I learn more, I'm definitely willing to share that. As you can see, dropping a ton of DPS as Kayle, using my ultimate. So a ton of damage was being done in that fight there, and to be honest, it doesn't take a ridiculous amount of skill with this champion, but of course, you know, people that understand the matchups, they'll try to shut you down, they'll target you, but the power is real when it comes to this champion when you have enough items, gold, and just have the resources. Gonna pick up the Hurricane here.
The divine path shows no footsteps.
Ally slain.
And then gonna shove out the lanes.
Danger.
The game is definitely hard. The enemy team has a lot of damage dealers. We do have some people that are good in this game for sure, but it's just one of those games. So right now it's really tricky.
Under attack.
We trying to stay in the fog of war to make sure. It would be pretty bad for myself and Echo to try to fight a 4v2 in this scenario. I'm not really at a stage where I can do that. The Tristana does so much damage to me, so I would have to DPS her down before she gets anything, you know, and finishes me off. So just looking to take some jungle camps, continue to farm, and just looking to drop as much DPS as possible in team fights. But wave management is the key. Keep shoving out waves, and you're gonna have enters. You might enter yourself. It's more about keeping your cool. The game's not really over. I kind of misclicked there and pressed the ultimate. I was trying to press my E and it pressed my ultimate, so that's why that team fight didn't go well. I would have been able to save my ultimate to block a lot of this DPS and be able to possibly turn that team fight. So that was my mistake on that one. So now I'm thinking Riftmaker or Nashor's Tooth. To be honest, at this stage, it's probably better to do like a Phantom Dance or things like that, but I wanted to experiment with the build a little bit. As you'll notice, it's probably not the most optimal builds that I do in some of these games, but I'm just trying to try out different builds to see what works. And one of the games that I had today as a Mundo, I used Hullbreaker, and it was the game changer in the game. I was able to utilize that, you know, enhanced strength siege minions and be able to push it down and finish the game almost by myself. It was a way where I was able to carry one of those games. But yeah, looking to stop this Baron. I want to try to steal this here with just saving my DPS, and there we go. We steal the Baron. So I wanted to save my Q and my E to drop as much DPS as possible on the Baron to try to steal it, which is very important for us to stay in the game here. Now we can start to push waves and at least get some pressure back on the map. Definitely a hard game. Mel can one-shot me if she lands her combo. Tristana could more or less one-shot me as well if I don't get my ultimate off in time.
Enemy turret destroyed.
Even if Warwick gets the ultimate off on me. So that's why I'm trying to space in a way where I'm not too close to the Warwick where he can ultimate me. I have teammates in front of me that can kind of tank that for me, but just looking to push out the side waves. At this point, I probably could push through and get a lot of damage. I feel like I make a big mistake at this stage where they're able to hop on me. I push too far here, and I think they chase me down, if I remember correctly. Yeah. This is definitely my mistake here. And this is one of the disadvantages of having the exhaust barrier set up. Your spacing and your positioning has to be absolutely perfect in a lot of scenarios. Otherwise, you're going to pay the price like I did there. So the team's doing well though. Echo pulls some cool moves here. Gets the kill on the Darius, but unfortunately couldn't execute and finish it on the Warwick. And our junglers, I believe the junglers knew, to be honest, the way that the junglers pathing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have 2 smites, so I gotta wait to see the tab screen, but I think we had like double jungle or something like that, so a little bit of a conflict on who's gonna jungle. But yeah, so just looking to keep building my items. Now it's more about how do I play the team fight, so not getting focused. So making sure my positioning is not like frontliner like I'm in a tank, and that's the problem. I like to play tanks like Dr. Mundo, so sometimes I kind of forget and I start like frontlining as a carry. But there's like a switch that you have to have as a carry. where of course you want to sit in the back and you want to hit the first target, but at the same time you got to flip the switch and kind of go in, and that's usually when the summoner spells are down, the cooldowns are down for their main abilities, so you're not worried about getting one shot. So more or less that's what it is. I think I get the kill on the Mel here because of my ultimate. The ultimate is a huge savior for me. And then we're just looking to chase down some more targets. But unfortunately, without my ultimate, I don't have a lot of defense for myself. The barrier was down. Exhaust would have been... I felt like exhaust would have been a waste in that scenario. And to be completely honest, I'm learning the screen. I just switched recently to a tablet. So trying to figure out the controls, holding this big thing, and then also... the aspect ratio is a little bit different on a tablet, so I can see a little bit more, which I'm not used to on the phone. So just learning new things. And the cool thing is recording these videos, I'm able to actually see a lot of my mistakes and actually get better and see like, oh, okay, there's big spacing mistakes. And even when I'm pushing a side lane, I shouldn't be so far up, especially if I'm running these summoner spells. So Vi should be going back and helping the mid lane, but once again, trying to solo Baron here. I'm a bit frustrated, as you can see from my pings. I think I actually even start typing in here, which I always recommend not to do, just because the amount of energy that it takes. Yeah, big mistake. As you can see, absolutely got deleted by the Tristana there. Was not expecting that type of damage. But, you know, the Vi here was kind of getting me tilted a little bit, to be honest. And I don't think it's worth it to type in the chat, but I even... as you can see, I actually start writing in the chat here. I think it's just a waste of time because it didn't really change anything. And sometimes, you know, you have to accept that solo queue can be like that. I did play League. I think I played in like Season 3 or Season 4, and I used to just duo queue with my friend, and we were like hard stuck gold, something like that. So I used to just have fun, but I do have an understanding of the game. I do love to watch... just for fun, I like to watch competitive play as well. So those of you that do watch competitive play as well, you know, Los Ratones, first stand just happened recently, which was crazy. You had Gen G, who was the #1 team that everybody was going to be the best in the world, and they were just waiting to see how they do with the LPL teams. And G2 pulls off the 3-0 upset and beats Gen G from Europe, basically puts Europe back on the map. I'm from NA, but... I'm a huge fan of just League of Legends in general, EU. I always wanted a Western team to be able to take out the LPL, even though I low-key like the LPL in Korea, LCK. So they're pushing, they have the Baron buff, and I'm just looking to clear waves here, not really looking to fight. But the Jinx is very strong, so it's nice that there's 2 carries here that are able to do a lot of DPS. And we're just looking to... oh, there. So he messes up his ultimate there, which really works in our favor. If he was able to hit that, that would have... turn the fight in his favor and his team's favor. So me and Jinx just looking to push things down. I'm trying to avoid some of these things from Mel. I'm having my ultimate ready this time for the Tristana, just to make sure that she's not able to just DPS me down, because the last time I was not happy that she absolutely deleted me. I didn't think that I would have to do my ultimate. So now that my ultimate is down, my summoner spells are down, I cannot be up close and even risk getting CC'd, so you'll notice that I'll step back here. And now I have a Guardian Angel. This was one of those games where I felt like one team fight was going to change everything. So typically I don't do GA, but I was like, okay, I have to get a Guardian Angel here, otherwise this game is pretty much done deal. I probably would have died there if Mel hit that Q. So picking up the GA. And now this is kind of the final push for the game. So more or less whoever gets a favorable fight and wins here is going to win this game, just because mid inhib is open. We have mid inhib as well. I believe Hecarim just kept pushing his way, and he's got the I think it's the bottom lane inhib. So this is a very risky play. Me and Jinx go for it. We don't have smite. I know they know we're on it, so we're just trying to DPS it as much as possible, as quickly as possible, so they can't steal it. You notice we barely get it, and we're able to kill Warwick and Tristana here, and then get the Darius as well. And that's a favorable fight that I was talking about. So the GA would have come in extremely handy here if it got procced. And then we're just going to push through. Drop this tower. We're going to go hard to get the Mel because that's the only person standing in our way. So get the kill there. Finish off the Ahri. And for me here, I'm trying to like really juggle the aggro on the turret. So I'll take quite a few turret shots here. So from here, you'll notice I almost die, but I'm trying to DPS it as much as possible using barrier and heal, my W, and then the echo finishes it off for us. We had plenty of time, 4 to 5 seconds for the other guys, but that's game. Please like, share, subscribe, and thank you very much. Drop comments below and any questions that you might have about Wild Rift or nutrition or anything.